So I have been with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji for 18 years, and I was in the ashram. And as a seeker, learning various meditation techniques and seeing thousands of lives being transformed, that is the time it started striking me that all that transformation that is happening from within is all what psychology does. Psychology is all about the mind and behavior. And here I see my own life changing. And so here I see my life changing, and I see the lives of thousands of people changing around me. So, what is this power wherein people actually change from within? Their mindsets change, their attitudes change, and the way they look at life change. So, all that started accruing in me. And it was in 2017 when I was given an opportunity. I was a full time volunteer with the Art of Living and traveling all over the world, teaching courses, meditation, different kinds of programs as an Art of Living teacher. So in 2017, when I was given the seva to go to Shri Shri University, we have a university, and there it struck me that in the university, the whole ecosystem is of spirituality. In Shri Shri University, students learn Sudarshan Kriya, they do practices, all that is there. It's a vegetarian campus, no alcohol, no smoking, that kind of a campus was there. And there in the university, we had a Gurukul also. Veda Akama Patashala was also there. So that is the time it struck me that why don't we do something about psychology? Because my academic background is modern psychology, child development plus psychology. So that is the time I thought that the psychology theories that I have learned all through actually did not do even one bit to change anything in my life. They have only remained as theories, and many of the theories, I think I can just really throw them out of the window. It really makes no sense to me. And what was making sense to me in terms of maybe blossoming as a human being, having a positive attitude, more control over my emotions and life, was all the practices that I was doing. That was not coming in the form of theory, but it was coming in the form of real hardcore praxis. And it was just not the sadhana that we were doing. Actually, we were interacting with people. I have seen Gurudev putting us in different kinds of situations wherein we think, oh, I'm not capable of this at all. People would also say, oh, this person is not capable. And suddenly you realize that just by virtue of being in that situation, how your skills start blossoming. That is what the power within helps us. And that is what a guru does. He really introduces you to certain facets of your life which you are not aware and the world is not aware. So, since I had seen a lot of transformation in me, and by virtue of my teaching courses all over the world, I was seeing these transformations in the lives of so many people. I thought it is very important to do something about mainstream psychology, and I was in the right place. I had already entered the university. So, there, looking at the undergraduate curriculum of psychology that is prescribed by UGC and the postgraduate curriculum, UGC prescribes a model curriculum for all streams that we know. And around that model curriculum, we have some flexibility to bring in our pedagogy, our stuff that is there, about 30% is there. So taking advantage of that and the contemplation that was happening within and the power of contemplation through meditation and through all the things that had happened in the last 18 years, I thought that now let's bring contemplation to psychology. It started with that one seed. Now, how to do it? Because I had never been in a university, I had never worked in a university, I didn't even know what a credit is. That was me in 2017. Right? I had no idea. But the seed had come, contemplation and all these things should come into modern psychology. So then what happened? Then I knew there are people who have been working in mainstream psychology, but they are also been working in Indian psychology. So reached out to Professor Girishwar Mishra, who was here in one of our sessions, just by finding his number on the Google and reaching out to him. So that is how I connected with many people whose name I had heard. I knew they were big stalwarts and they have done some work in this kind of field. So made a committee of almost 18-20 members from psychology, from psychiatry, from dance, from music, from Vedas, just brought everybody together and then started seeding the idea in them, called them to the university and said, we have to do something about psychology. So I remember in the first 2 or 3 meetings, some of the stalwarts who had come all together, they would ask me, why a person of Jyotisha is in a psychology meeting? Why a person of psychiatry? Why a person of dance in a psychology meeting? Because they were so much into the academic framework of the UGC. It was a very tough challenge for me as to how do I tell them what I am thinking and how do I want to see what I want to see my curriculum, not just the curriculum, but actually students following that kind of a curriculum. But it happened. I always believe that if you have a sankalpa, if you have a clarity, the clarity may be fuzzy initially, but if you're really convinced that something around this has to happen, and you know that everything you cannot do because you're not the expert for everything, that's not possible. You need all different team members to put it all together. It's always a teamwork, and you need people who have those skill sets, and very important, people who have the attitude. Many people have the skill sets, but they do not have the attitude. If they do not have the attitude, their skills cannot help anybody. So I was very particular that let me have those people who have the skills. They have to be really brilliant in the fields, but they have to have an attitude of really being open to what is being said. And then your conviction, your clarity, all help together. And eventually, in a span of almost 2 years, we researched, we met, we talked, we deliberated. It was a big team, and the best of the experts of the country had all been brought together, and we developed a syllabus, and it was called BSc Honors in Psychology and Contemplative Studies. We don't have this degree in India. Psychology and Contemplative Studies. And this title was again given by our advisory, and Masters in Psychology and Contemplative Studies. So it was not BA or BSc in Psychology that is existent. It was BSc in Psychology and Contemplative Studies. Now, the question came, what is contemplative studies? Who defines what is contemplative studies? So then again, the advisory was very, very helpful. We had all kinds of skills. There is a Brown University in the US, and we refer to their curriculum on contemplative studies. We refer to few other curriculums, but finally we decided that the contemplation also, we will define what is contemplation and how do we want to see contemplation from our Shastras. So that is why I say it took us almost 2 years, and we came up with a syllabus. It was passed through the Board of Studies, it was passed through the Academic Council, and this program was launched in 2020 August. And now, when it came to teaching this course, the next challenge was, who will teach? Supposing we have a course called Undergraduate Program in Psychology and Contemplative Studies, BSc, first semester. So if you would have seen a UGC curriculum, the first course normally is Introduction to Psychology, I'm sure, or Introduction to Mathematics or whatever. Here we had Introduction to Psychology and Contemplative Studies. So if it is research methodology, which is again a course in the first year or second year, we had Introduction to Research and Research in Contemplative Inquiry. So what we did not bring contemplation as patch to the UGC syllabus. We wove contemplation and all segments of contemplation which was corroborating to mainstream psychological ideas. It was a weave. It was not independent. It was not kept aside like a side dish or a course in contemplation. No, it was completely weaved. So I would like to quickly show you the syllabus just to give you an idea as to how we did it in psychology. And when it came to teaching the subject, I was there. Now, if we have a course in psychology and contemplative studies, contemplation we were seeing from 3 pillars: religious philosophy, world art forms, world philosophy, and world religions. We had taken 3 pillars. So philosophy, world philosophy, not only our Indian philosophy, world philosophy, because they talk of contemplation. Art forms, dance, music, that is all contemplation, and that can also lead you to very positive attitudes, and that is psychology. And religion, why only Hinduism? Christian mysticism, Taoism, Buddhism, even Sufism, it talks of contemplation. So we did not restrict ourselves. We took these 3 fundamental principles we drew out the principles of contemplation, of mindfulness, of mind, of consciousness, of behavior, because psychology is what? A science of behavior and mind. So anything that was dealing with behavior and mind and beyond the mind became a part of our curriculum. And when it came to teaching each of the courses, it meant one teacher cannot teach even one course. If in an undergrad course, we have 6 courses, for example, and each course normally will have one teacher. But here in one course, we had 4 or 5 teachers. If Introduction to Psychology and Contemplation, Western psychology was being taught, say, by Dr. Girishwar Mishra, now contemplation, say, from Vedas, we cannot have Girishwar Mishra ji teaching. We'll have somebody who's an expert in Vedas and can talk of contemplation related to psychology. If we are talking contemplation from art form, we have to have somebody who is an expert in the art form to teach contemplation. So we had multiple teachers teaching one course, and it went very well. We have Daniela Lepke, who has done her master's in contemplation and psychology from Sri Sri University. She's completed a 2-year degree. And those who joined that course in 2020, in the undergraduate level, they have reached the 3rd year. So we had Pravnajika ji, to Girishwar Mishra ji, to Shekhar Sheshadri ji, who have all been instrumental in bringing IKS and beyond IKS, indigenous knowledge to psychology and contemplative studies. Now, I'll just show you, quickly run through the syllabus. And why I am talking about this is because this is how I followed my heart, my conviction, my own clarity about certain things, and gave birth to this. So this is about whatever we have learned in the last 14 days. Each one of us will have our own convictions, our own spaces. I would say, please do not bound yourself in restricted frameworks. That is not the sign of a researcher. Anything can come to your mind, and see if you can really go deep into that and contribute something. So, a very quick glance through of the syllabus. This is the syllabus of Department of Contemplative and Behavioral Sciences, and we also established a faculty. And this is the programmatic brochure, Bachelor of Science Honors in Psychology and Contemplative Studies and Master of Science. And the whole premise was that if you want to keep up with the times, you need to be creative and innovative. And for that, you need to take care of the container, that is the mind. My background is psychology, so I really believe that it's very important to have the right mind and the mindset. And the technology to have a beautiful mind, we all agree probably, is meditation. So the preamble of this department as to why have we brought contemplation to modern psychology, what is the gap in modern psychology, and how contemplation can fill that gap is given in the preamble. Because psychology, current psychology has, you would have heard in previous talks on the contemplation day, on the cognitive sciences day, that it has a reductionist approach, so on and so forth. So these are the programs, Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, these were the programs that were launched, integrated master, and also a doctorate of philosophy. And we also had a certificate course in human development and counseling, Vedic and modern perspectives. And this was the course that got copyrighted from Government of India. Before starting this department, this was the course which was initiated at Sri Sri University. I'll just show you, this is how, because many of us are from the university and colleges. So you can look at how the syllabus was arranged. We talked about first person inquiry because contemplation, if you would have heard last 2-3 times, Joyda has mentioned, I have also been mentioning, that for human subjectivity, we need to have a different kind of methodology to understand. A third person methodology cannot suffice. And that comes from the first person inquiry. So this was the premise of contemplation. And of course, Atma Vidya, which the National Education Policy also talks about. The fulcrum of education is that it should lead to the knowledge of the self as to who am I. If I do not know who am I, what is the point in knowing what anything else, anything in the world? So we started with psychology, a familiarization. We gave a familiarization of contemplation, what is contemplative inquiry, and what is contemplative studies. Remember that this was non-existent with psychology anywhere previously. So we had a challenge to really create something and put it in this manner. And this is the whole procedure as to how, from setting up a counseling center to a certificate course, did we come up with this Department of Contemplative Behavioral Sciences, and how long did it take, and who were the architects in the construction of this syllabus. So these are the names of, yes, we had 2 years of Sanskrit also in bachelor and masters, because we felt that it is very important to have contemplation and Sanskrit. So we had 4 semesters of Sanskrit. So these were all our, we had a mission, we had a vision, and what contemplation would do, and what would be the career opportunities. Yes, you would have heard in the morning that if it is, Hariji was saying that if it is person with IKEA skills, career opportunities in the next 10 years is going to be much higher. Yes, so he was around those lines. Now these are the programs, and of course CB, choice-based credit system, that we followed for the UGC. LOCF, I'm sure we understand these technical jargons, and aims of the undergraduate program. I'll just take one last minute. And the different courses that we had, semester-wise divisions, foundational course, and see, these are the courses that we had. It's a first year, Gateway to Psychology and Contemplative Studies, Research Methods in Psychological and Contemplative Inquiry. If we were talking of biopsychology, it was not only from the Western models, but from Ayurveda and other models. Sanskrit, global language and contemplative studies, art forms, dance, music. So this is a syllabi. And just last, I'll just show you one course. For example, this is Gateway to Psychology and Contemplative Studies, a 6-credit course, semester 1. Now, if you see unit 1, it talks of psychology, but it also talks of contemplative studies. If you see the second paragraph, it talks about functional aspects of mind and Indic philosophy. Antahakarana, Chitta, Buddhi, Ahamkar, Manas, mind in Jyotisha, Manas, Chandra, Lagna, Nakshatra, mind in Ayurveda. So all the concepts that we talk in psychology, in parallel, we were also seeing corroborating concepts from world philosophy, world art forms, and world religion. Of course, the syllabus is long. It took me quite a lot of time to put it together, write it, start the department, and the department is now full-fledged running. If this could happen in psychology, and that too, my entry into the university system only in 2017, when I had zero knowledge about university and academia, it can happen with any one of us. It's just that aha moment that you get from within. Yeah, I need to follow this path, and the universe conspires to make things happen for you. So I just wanted to present this opportunity. Some real life examples as to how IKS can come into wherever we are working. It's just about your conviction, your clarity from within.